Welcome to One Up Out West as the One Up Nitro National Series takes on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for 67 laps in race number 3 of 25 to determine a champion this year. We've got a lot of new faces in this series this year. We've got a lot of people out front that we shouldn't really be surprised to see there anymore. And we'll see at the end of 67 laps today which one of these 42 drivers will be celebrating in victory lane as a winner at Las Vegas. And alongside me in the booth to bring you all the action for this race is James Ellison with us this week. Great to have you with us. It's Las Vegas. It's high, it's wide, it's fast, everything you love in a racetrack. But for these guys, everything is on the line, even this early in the season, when you consider that a good start is key to having a strong season.
Oh, absolutely. We've already seen the strong season that's been going on over at Finguy Satomi. I mean, you take a look at our first winners of the season for this series. I mean, DJ Kurtis right out of the gate. I mean, we knew he was going to do something, but that's one way to announce your presence in the series, or your arrival, I should say, in this case. But this is going to be really interesting to watch because I've become so used to the short tracks watching the modifieds, but I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody here can do and finally get a look for myself from beyond the pit box of what these drivers are capable of, especially the newcomers.
Well said, because there's quite a lot of them in this Nitro National Series field, and a lot of them have not seen Las Vegas Motor Speedway before, much less in a Nitro National car. We'll see how they get on over the next 67 laps this afternoon. As we can now bring you the starting lineup for today's race action. David Meskhi, the third different Finguy Satomi Motorsports driver to take pole position this season in the first 3 races. Could he be the third Finguy Satomi Motorsports driver to win a race this season? That would certainly be something to behold if he can hang on. He's got Jacob Buchholz alongside him, looking to rebound after a okay day at Rockingham, not so much for his teammate Stanley Andrews, who starts down in 25th, but Buchholz looking to carry the baton this week for Stormbreak Motorsports, as he did at Rockingham. Angel Gutierrez, who's also making his Superstar debut tomorrow, he starts 3rd. Braden Varga runs in the 4th position to start this race, with Nagatsugu Kanauka rounding out the top 5, who is actually the lowest full-time driver currently in the point standing, so Kanauka especially needs to get a move on in the points if they're going to stay in that top 30 by the time we leave New Jersey at the end of race 5.
Yeah, Kanauka, just as we thought that some people, like, I will talk about my own driver for a minute here, Buchholz, he had a pretty rough outing at Daytona, okay outing at Rockingham, but man, Kanauka, yeesh, you want to talk about tough luck. This starting top 5 though, I pray that this is a good day for Kanauka, but then you got to look at the likes of Brandon Smith, Bill Lobos, Cody Lamas, did really good at Daytona until circumstances beyond his control messed him up, but I mean, our Daytona winner is currently in 12th there, DJ Kurtis. Got so many drivers here I'm keeping an eye on. New faces, old faces. I'm ready to get going.
As am I, and I'm sure as is everyone watching as well. So with that being said, we've got 42 drivers ready to take on the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're ready to bring you that action as well. It's the One Up Nitro National Series from Las Vegas, and the green flag getting set to get this great race underway in just a short while here. Stay tuned, gonna be a good one. Getting set for a big one here at Las Vegas. Meskhi on the inside line. Buchholz on the outside of the front row. Leading us to the green flag now, which is currently in the flagman's hand. It's out and in the air. We are racing at Las Vegas. Meskhi gets the edge off the line ahead of Buchholz as the field barrels its way into turn 1. Kurtis already drops to the low line. He knows where the grip is. But Buchholz way up the racetrack on the start. He's dropping like a boulder on the launch.
Yeah, I think he got a little arrow loose out the front of Varga there, and he was able to salvage it. Still has some time to regain the 2 spots he lost, but I feel like he's got to move to the inside like we've seen some of the other drivers do if he wants to keep in the top 5, top 10.
Which will it looks like he's gotten single file in front of Brandon Smith and behind Angel Gutierrez. So Pujols currently rides in fourth. He started this race in second. As Riley Hooper now gets a little tight, goes up to the high side, loses a couple positions in the process, namely to Ashton Blevins in the 77 for Revolution Racing, Ryan Arnold behind the 69, and Wyatt Junkman pushing Blevins through the corner. Look at all this racing we've got in the midfield of this race. We've got so many side-by-side battles back there. And at the front, it's David Meskhi who continues to lead here at Vegas.
And that's exactly what you were talking about. It wants to be the third straight. FPM's going for 3 straight wins. And what better way to do it than all 3 of your drivers in the series? But, I don't think Varga is taking too kindly to that concept because he's not letting them go.
No, absolutely not. And you can see his teammate joining the fray. Brandon Smith in the 92 back there trying to put some pressure on Pujols for 4th spot as Varga's continuing to try and apply pressure to Meskhi. But this 29's running very solidly up front. We've got all 3 of the Fingai Saitomi cars in the top 10 right now. You see Eric DeMax running just inside the top 15. He started this race down in 16, so he's already picked up a couple places. Terzic in the 10, or the 57. He was in the 10 last year. But Terzic in the 57, he started this race in 10th. He's lost a couple spots. He's going to have to work hard to get them back.
Yeah, I'm still having to get used to Terzic's new number and the new manufacturer for that program over at Farraco. And meanwhile, up here you got Smith and Villalobos putting pressure on Pujols. So I think it's safe to say that early on that this 31 is not handling the greatest.
No, but I think he just needs to find a spot in line to just hang in there, ride around a couple laps, let the car come to him, even if that's in like 7th or 9th place. If he could just hang out in the top 10, I'd say that's a solid effort from this 31 team. As Villalobos tries to get underneath him, Cody Lamas already has in the 48, and Brandon Smith's cleared the 31 already to move himself now up into 4th place, all on his own.
Yeah, and I saw DJ Curtis right there. So Curtis trying to go 3 wide on, briefly looked like he's trying to go 3 wide on Lamas and Villalobos, but thought better of it. We see right there, Kanalka fell some spots, but still hanging on to a top 10 spot for now, which is just what they need to do.
And the main focus of this race, I know, is going to be on the racing action, but it's also going to be on managing the equipment. We don't expect to see a pit stop in this race unless something goes really wrong for one of these cars, and we're going to see a lot of tire fall off. So managing your stuff in the early part of the run is going to be critical. That's probably why you're not seeing David Meskhi run out to a massive lead. He wants to keep the 9 behind him so that he can manage his stuff so that later in the race he can pull a big gap.
Yeah, managing your stuff early on is key. Because you use your stuff up early, even if you're just trying to defend or you're trying to do like what Varga's trying to do as he jumps back a little bit there. If you use your stuff up too early, you are going to find yourself falling like a rock to those who save their equipment.
And going back to what you were saying about that little fall off for the 9, we've seen that all weekend long. We're going to see it in the Superstar race tomorrow. We're going to see it all day here today as well. If you're right behind the guy coming out of turn 2 and you have to let off the gas a little bit to prevent yourself from running him over, you're going to lose a lot of momentum down the straightaway. And we saw that just now with the 9. I would expect to see it countless times for the rest of this race with our other drivers as well.
Yeah, that's... as long as it's not a huge fall off, as we see the whole still defending off Villalobos, though, it looks like that's going to be a lost cause for now. But again, still early on. But you expect races like this, there's always a chance of comers and goers. Not as often as you can see like Daytona or Talladega, but you'll see it as we look at the 69 Skills car here, trying to just hang in there. Got by Kanalka actually there, Ripper did.
And the good news for Pujols in this 31, he's got a little space behind DJ Curtis where he can hang out for a bit. If Curtis ends up making the pass on him, which it looks like he will, if Pujols can just find that spot behind Curtis and in front of Hooper to just ride the rest of this race, or at least a good chunk of the race, and learn about his race car more, that's going to be fine for him as long as he can get that top 10 result, which he currently is in 8th place. But up behind him, there's a lot of battling going on right here with Blevins, with Kanalka, and a few others. We had all the Spa cars this weekend starting right next to each other, and they're all pretty much running together now as well. Hart, Breeding, and Hayes Green.
Yeah, that's a good place for them to be right now. I mean, I know they, as well as their team owner, would love to see him. Would love to be see him up higher, but that's a good place to be early on. Don't, like we said, don't use your stuff up. Just ride there and save your stuff, and maybe you'll be around to have a chance to make a run at least the top 10 at the end of the day.
We'll find out at the end of 67 laps, but we're only on lap number 12 right now, with David Meskhi having led all of them from pole position so far. But Braden Varga is keeping him honest in this 9. I would not be surprised to see this 9 car challenge for the win today. He's had a lot of success on these mile-and-a-half racetracks. He won a couple of them last year, and he's in a contract year at Team Duke, so this is a really big opportunity for him to either prove his work to the team to let him stay, or if he does get cut, see if he can find another team to take him to greater heights, perhaps even in the Superstar Series on Sundays.
Yeah, now he's got to focus on his mirrors as much as his windshield, because Gutierrez has caught him, and honestly, if Varga ain't able to do anything with Meskhi, I have a feeling this 72 may have something to say about both of them here.
And don't look now, but their infighting is bringing Brandon Smith into the conversation as well. And not just him. Villalobos and Lamas are right there as well. And if those guys get held up, that could bring Kurtis into the fray as well. We might have 7 cars under a blanket for the lead if these leaders can't settle it out amongst themselves.
Yeah, and the thing is, they really start bunching up. Like, if they start getting to the point where the 29 is just holding everybody who wants by up because he's just defending that well and people aren't trying too hard too early, we could have a lot more than just 7 cars. But for now, it's just a 3-car battle. Although, actually, make that 4-car battle.
Yeah, Brandon Smith has joined the conversation in the 92, and he's challenging Gutierrez for that final spot on the podium. But Varga absolutely glued to the back of the 29 as they head off into turn 1. This is going to be really fun to watch for Braden Varga. He's had a little rough start to the season. I think he entered this race somewhere around 26th in the points. He expects better from himself. Team Duke expects better from him. And I would be very surprised if he doesn't get a really strong run today to boost him up the order.
As we see here, Kanalka has finally fallen out of the top 10. Blevins moved up into the top 10, and we saw it looked like the Max got by. And there's a few others who are trying to get there, but so far, nothing for it.
No, and now look at this. Gutierrez is closing in on the back of Varga for second position as Lamas now closes in on the back of the battle for the lead as Brandon Smith takes a look down the inside of Gutierrez. This is going to be interesting to watch because we've seen this time and time again this weekend. Guys, they get a good run on a driver, they pull low going into turn 1, and they can never make it stick because they have to shallow up the entry and let off the gas to make the corner. We've seen it time and time again this weekend, and I would be very surprised if we didn't see more of it later.
And as you've now seen, in those shots we have now made it a 6-car battle because Villalobos and Lamas have caught up here. Gutierrez finally trying to make a move, but couldn't make it stick. Had to check up a little, and unfortunately that also messed up Smith and put the back half of this cluster right up against each other.
And they're bringing DJ Kurtis into the picture as well in the 22. So, that's the last guy I'd want to be involved in a fight for the lead if I were Braden Varga, Angel Gutierrez, etc. But Villalobos is trying to get by Brandon Smith, Smith's trying to get by Gutierrez, and they're all trying to get by David Meskhi, who's led all 18 laps up to this point.
Yeah, and I think if Kurtis joins the fray here as Gutierrez is finally about to be passed, because couldn't really get anything done with the 2 ahead of him, so Smith and Villalobos and perhaps even Lamas are going to try to do something about it here.
But Gutierrez is holding his own up on the outside, I saw back there, so he might yet still keep the position. And sure enough, he will for the time being, but Smith is still to his inside. He's got help from the 66, although I don't know if Villalobos really wants to help Smith get by Gutierrez, because remember, the 66 and 72 are teammates. And of course, all 3 Robbers Racing cars actually present in the top 10, with Riley Hooper fighting for holes back there for 8.
Yeah, but the thing is, these two, if we saw that Kurtis has caught up to this now, while the battle for the lead has split back to just Vargan and Meskhi for the moment. If this cluster here from third back to seventh gets to fighting, I would say Hooper and Beholds may find themselves with an opportunity to not only fight each other, but finally do something about these guys up ahead of them.
And a lot has to be said, too, about this rookie driver right here, Cody Lamas in the 48. He never set foot in a one-up race car until he settled in for Daytona to start the season. Led so many laps there before drifting back at the end. Had an average day at Rockingham getting used to everything. But now that he's settled into his team at Fitzwater Australia Racing, he is making it work. He is fighting hard for a spot in the top 5, maybe even a podium in just his 3rd career start.
Yeah, he keeps going. I have a feeling he's going to get at least 1 win, maybe 2. And I think that'd be something that the folks at Fitzwater Australia Racing, especially Fitzy himself, would be very happy to see as they're in their final season with Dodge before switching to Mercedes next year.
And keep in mind as well, Fitzwater's retiring at the end of this season. Maybe he's got an opening for Cody Lamas or his teammate Nathan Stapleton in the Superstar Series next year. Time will tell, but one of those two would be a very worthy candidate to take over that flagship 59 in the Superstar Series next year, I'm sure. But back to the race at hand. Lamas is sizing up Gutierrez, but he just had to shallow up his entry a little bit like we were talking about earlier, and he's not quite able to get around the 72 quite yet.
Not quite yet, but it's getting to that point in the race where you could start using your stuff just a little more if you haven't been already. And I would not be surprised if the 9 up ahead has been using stuff some. As we look back at the back half of the top 10, they're kind of scattered out back there. But this is the main focus, and honestly, I think they're all determined to do something here as we see Lamas take another peek at Gutierrez, but checks up again. This is going to get good here eventually.
And keep in mind as well, we're not expected to make a pit stop in this race. Unless you have a problem, you're on these tires to the end. So we're going to see fall off very high in this race. We've already seen fall off of about 7 to 8 tenths of a second. By the end of the race, we might even see up to 3 seconds of fall off on each lap. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who can manage their stuff the best, because so far, Meskhi's got the field covered.
Yeah, he's doing it as we see now. Lamas finally making another attempt at the 72 here. Has the room, might actually be able to do something here, although Gutierrez, as you said, pretty strong on that high side.
Yeah, and Gutierrez had a strong day at Rockingham as well, moved himself up in the points quite a bit, and he's looking for his 2nd straight top 10 to get the season off on the right foot for the 72. He missed the chase last year, hoping to rectify that this time around. Actually, none of the Robbers Racing cars made the top 12 last year, and they're all hoping to get into the championship chase this year. But they're going to have a lot of competition, like Brandon Smith, Cody Lamas, DJ Curtis, as Villalobos goes high, trying to find some momentum around this 92.
And he looks like he's got a little something here, but he's also got to watch out, because if he checks up, Curtis will get that spot.
He might not even have to check up for Curtis to get a run on him, because he's already getting a big move done on the 66. These two are going to be really strong competitors for Rookie of the Year this year, the 66 and 22. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cody Lamas was challenging them for a little bit this season. He's already gotten ahead of both of them. We've got 3 rookies in the top 7 in this race. That is incredible stuff and a good sign for the future of this series.
Yeah, honestly, it's gonna. I know I've got a rookie in the picture for the Rookie of the Year battle, but right now, I gotta agree with the idea of it being Curtis versus Villalobos, and maybe also versus Lamas. It's the 14 down on the apron.
Another rookie contender, Alexander Rowe. He just came out of the pits. I wonder if, he had to have had an issue on that 14 car. We're hearing it was a fuel pickup problem on the 14 that required him to come in for service, and he's going to shape up. He's going to shape up this battle for 3rd place in quite a dramatic fashion. He's going to help Lamas get past Angel Gutierrez right there.
And also help open up the gap between Lamas and Varga. Lamas is going to have to put some pressure in once he gets by this 14 if he wants to have a hope at catching up to the top 2.
He might not even get past the 14, because keep in mind, like I said earlier, you're on these tires to the end of the race. Alexander Rowe has 30-lap fresher tires now than the rest of the field. He could put in some storming hot laps to try and regain lost ground, because he's now 2 laps down in that 14 car, so he has to get one of them back the hard way if he's going to get a free pass to get back on the lead lap. So I think once Rowe gets up to speed on these tires, he's going to be easily 0.7 of a second to a full second a lap faster than the 2 leaders.
Yeah, it's true. He's got the opportunity here to, who knows, if something happens and everybody else pits, he might be at least in a position to salvage something out of what's happened to him.
And keep in mind, Rowe did start this race down in last place, so he wasn't one of the faster cars here in the Eclipse group, but he at least has made every race this season, something his teammate Nate Champion cannot say. They're going to have to assess some things at the Eclipse group there. But Alexander Rowe has put in some solid performances this season. Okay day at Rockingham, stayed in the main pack at Daytona, and this is his first real hiccup of the season, but this 14, I would expect once they knock the early season rust off, I would expect him to probably run solidly, get some top 25 finishes on his way.
Yeah, it's the thing about new teams and new or returning drivers. If there's anything, especially returning drivers, we've seen it time and again. Some drivers disappear, just leave for a while, then come back, and it takes them a little bit to get back in the rhythm. Especially if they're with a new team, it can be really challenging. As if this were a position, I would be impressed, but I'm actually still impressed because with the fresher tires, this is definitely going to be good, especially if he happens to get that caution he needs, if he can get past Meskhi.
And I'm sure Alexander Rowe is now David Meskhi's best friend, because what he just did was he put Braden Varga in a position where he can't challenge for the lead anymore, and now this is allowing the 29 to build a really big gap over the likes of Varga, and now Lamas, who's sneaking his way into the conversation as well in the 48. But Rowe is going to need to tread carefully here. I know he wants to get one of his laps back, but he also knows that Meskhi's racing for the win. And I don't think he's going to want, after doing such a big favor for the 29, I don't think he's going to want to ruin that anytime soon by making a clumsy pass of his own.
And nobody wants to make enemies, especially this early in the season, because there are people out there, we've seen it, there are people out there who can hold a grudge for a while and remember things. So whether they do something on the track or not, if you make an enemy, you're going to have to watch out. But looks like Rowe's doing the smart thing here, which I am very grateful for.
And we have now passed halfway in this race, which means David Meskhi has locked up the point now for leading the most laps in this race. Very solid effort from the 29. If he can win today, that'll be a maximum points day for him of 53 points. But it's still early days in this race. We just took halfway. We still got a lot of this race to go. And Alexander Rowe still has to find a way past David Meskhi if he's going to get back one of those laps.
Yeah, it's just like what happened with Varga so far when it came to Varga trying to get by Meskhi. Rowe, despite the fresher tires, has not been able to do anything, although it looks like he's going to try to make something happen here. And that could bring Varga back to the 29.
Oh, it will. It'll absolutely bring Varga back into play, especially with how he's still side by side. Meskhi was hoping that Rowe would clear him off of 2 and just take off down the road, but he hasn't done that yet. And look at the gap. It's coming down all the time. Rowe getting underneath Meskhi. That could allow Varga to get underneath the 29 as well, but I think the 29's just able to chop him off. Meskhi retains the lead. Rowe back to just 1 lap down.
Yeah, but with all that fighting, look who's in the picture now. He was a bit in the picture earlier with several others, but now it's just him. He don't have to fight anybody off in the mirror, because you look at the gap he's got to Gutierrez. He's got 2 seconds behind in the mirror, so he can focus on the 2 in front of him.
And I know David Meskhi's led so much of this race. He's led all of it, in fact. But I so far, I would give my drive of the race to Cody Lamas in this 48. Like I said, no experience in one-up competition before this season. He's put together some incredible runs in this 48. And keep in mind, Fitzwater Australia Racing, they've never made a Nitro National start until this season. And they've had speed with both of their cars, with Lamas and with Nathan Stapleton. I know the 97 started deep in the field, but he's making his way up steadily.
Here we go.
And Lamas diving down the inside of Braden Varga for second, but I think he's going to get stalled out right here.
Well, I think he's testing Varga here. He's He's trying to see how far he can get, and then if checking up a little bit, maybe faking him out a little, make him think he doesn't quite have what it takes. But we'll see here. And honestly, if Lamas can get up here and get past Varga and do something about Meskhi, I don't have a doubt there's going to be a party at FAR tonight. But first things first, he's got to get past these two and get to the checker.
And I'd say there's still cause for celebration. First podium as a team in the Nitro National Series in just their third try. That's still a really good job for Fitzwater Australia Racing, who now own entries in all three main series. They've got 3 in Superstar, 2 here, 3 in the trucks, and they've all performed pretty solidly this season. We've got a couple of Fitzwater cars starting really strongly tomorrow. So this is a team possibly on the rise. It's just a matter of time, I feel, before one of them gets to victory lane somewhere.
You talk about them being in good position. It's amazing how they seem to be picking up the pace in their swan song season with their current manufacturer. But you know what? I think they've decided that if we're gonna be leaving Dodge, we're gonna give them some wins on the way out, no matter what series it is. Which, I got to give them props for that.
And keep in mind as well, with the move to Mercedes imminent for that team this year, Express Motorsports is closing down at the end of the season. They're not going to be the top dog at Mercedes anymore. So with that acquisition by Venta Motorsport already underway, Fitzwater Australia Racing could be primed to be fighting with Stormbreak Motorsports for top Dodge honors. I know there's going to be an alliance there, but there's only room for one at the top of the food chain.
I'd like to say we're going to have a friendly rivalry, but we don't know that for sure. As there's definitely nothing friendly about what Lamas is doing. He's still putting pressure on that 9, and I think he's making it stick. He's sticking this time.
Yeah, he's making a move to the inside. They're side by side at the line. I think Lamas actually got second at the line by 6 1/1000ths of a second ahead of Varga, but the 9's going to dig in deep on that outside, try and pinch the 48 down to the bottom of the racetrack, and this is still anyone's guess who's going to get second in this one.
Yeah, I don't think Lamas is going to just back off this time. He's going to make Varga work for it, that's for sure. And he may not have been able to get by this time, but you can see it. That 48, that yellow car is ready to go, and I'm pretty sure that made Meskhi sweat a little because I'm pretty sure he thought that he was about to face a new challenger.
Because he's seen Varga be unable to challenge. If Lamas can get past the 9, could the 48 go all the way and get past the 29? We still have about 20 laps to go in this race, and there's a lot still possible between now and the checkered flag.
Yeah, there's plenty of time, and Lamas has plenty of time to push it a little bit, but not too hard. I mean, when you talk about the tire fall off, we're blue in the face, but this is here. Lamas trying again. This time he's making the move in turn 2, and that 9, I gotta say, can't get by the 29, but is able to hold off all challengers so far.
I think Lamas has a slightly faster car than Varga at the moment, but he just can't get the momentum to get by. And this has been a trend all weekend long, where faster cars can't get by their competition just because the momentum is so hard to generate here. That's what makes track position so key at Las Vegas. It's definitely something to keep in mind as well, that Cody Lamas, he doesn't know yet how to close out a race. He doesn't know how to control a race from the front. Meskhi does. He has a win under his belt. Varga's got multiple. So Lamas, if he can get to the front, it's a question of whether he can hold it or not.
Yeah, that's the big pressure. I mean, we saw last year. Look at our defending champion in this series, Eric DeMax. Came from another discipline of motorsport altogether, and now he's a one-up Nitro champion. That says a lot about how some of the talent that comes in here, whether they've had different disciplines of motorsports for a background, or they've been building up to come here to this level, and ultimately superstar one day. It's impressive enough where Lamas is now, but looks like he's backing off a little bit, maybe giving him a little bit of breathing space to try again.
And looking at the level of talent we have in this series, I think so many of these cars and so many of these drivers deserve a chance in Superstar. I'm looking at a lot of them right here. David Meskhi, Varga's already had a little bit of time in Superstar. Cody Lamas is, I'm sure, going to get there one day. But look at Angel Gutierrez, Brandon Smith, Paul Villalobos, DJ Curtis, and so many others that are in the Nitro National Series, but I think they have the real potential to be real big names in Superstar. And for Robbers Racing in particular, with Villalobos, Gutierrez, and Riley Hooper, there could be an opening there next season, with the 66 car possibly going back to full time. So one of those three could be called up to take that ride, and I think if one of them does, they would do a fantastic job there.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I believe I would agree with you on that, because we've seen it. There's plenty of there's been openings that have come up, and drivers have answered the call and done what they could. But we've seen where it doesn't always work out right away. Yours truly as a prime example of that. But it works out for some. Some just are enjoying the ride. I know one who's not enjoying the ride right now because he keeps getting pressure, is that Nina Varga.
And for Braden Varga, if he wants to get a Superstar ride, I'm sure there's a lot of teams willing to take him. I wonder if the Eclipse Group might open a second car for him, stay in the Chevrolet camp next year. But that would be a really good deal for him if that were to happen, but it's still very early days in this season, and there's still a lot of time between now and Homestead to wrap this season up. But we're closing in on 15 laps to go. David Meskhi's led every lap so far, and there it is again. The little lift off the gas from Braden Varga to prevent from running over to 29. I gotta wonder at how late in this race can you get before you start to take that risk of running him over?
Yeah, you don't wait too much longer. I mean, you see the lap counter now. It's getting down to crunch time, and I think Lamas has recognized that, and maybe he got reminded how close to the finish we are now, because I just saw him all over the back bumper that night.
Absolutely, and at this point in time, you just need to keep your wits about you, because you really need. It's been a long day. You've already run 52 laps of this race in a tight battle for the lead. You just can't let your guard down, because if you do, you could open the door for, if you're Meskhi, to let the 9 or the 48 or both get past you. The good news is they got a nice gap of about 3 seconds back to the battle for fourth place between Gutierrez, Smith, and the rest. But I think it's going to come down to these three, and who knows, we could still get a caution that could bunch everybody back up, put everybody on fresh tires. That could change things up, as the 48 has to let off there.
Yeah, but we're also getting to that point where a caution. Well, we still got several laps before we get to that threshold, but we're going to start getting to that point where a caution may not be your best friend if you're not David Meskhi, because as the laps count down, the chances of being able to restart if the race comes under yellow gets smaller and smaller, and that is something that Varga and Lamas have to be considering as they try to apply pressure to the 29.
Yeah, they're going to need to start to go now if they're going to have a chance, because Meskhi's just done a masterful job of defending against the 9 and the 48. A Ford, a Chevy, and a Dodge all battling for victory here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The first Toyota in the race is Ashton Blevins down in 10th position. The first Mercedes, Jacob Buchholz in 8th. We don't actually have any Hondas in the top 10. I'm sure there's a few lurking just outside it, but such is the case here in this race. We're coming up on 10 laps to go, and these three are running in lockstep with each other as Lamas dives down the inside trying to make another move on the 9.
I think he recognized it's time.
Yeah.
He's got to keep making moves. He's got to do something and hope it sticks before it's too late.
Yeah, he couldn't make it stick that time, but he knows that the aggression meter needs to be ramped up a notch, because next time by we'll take 10 laps to go. And look at that, Varga's not wasting any time. He almost drilled the back bumper of the 29 trying to find a way past. But these guys, the aggression's going to ramp up at the end, as I don't think lap traffic's going to be a feature by the end of this race, so it's really going to come down to who can get the run on David Meskhi to try and deny him a three-peat for Fingai Saitomi.
That is the biggest question right here. And Jeffrey Fingai has to be watching whether it's from Meskhi's pit box or not, he's got to be watching, begging this to come to fruition. But you know that these two behind him are doing everything they can to deny it. But I will say this: it's coming to that point where if Meskhi gets to hold on for this, he will have earned it, because Vargas kept the pressure all race, and now Lamas has joined in on that in the end here.
And keep in mind as well, Meskhi has one career win, but it wasn't with Fingai Saitomi Motorsports. He got that win at Daytona a couple of years ago with Full Frontal Motorsports before they shut down. So Meskhi looking for his first win in FPM colors, just as his two teammates did in the past two races. So this could be a really big deal if Meskhi can become the third driver to get his first win in the Nitro National Series with this historic race team.
That's exactly what it looks like. Lamas had to really check up there. That he's got a lot of work to do to get back up there, but if Varga keeps applying the pressure, doing stuff here, I don't doubt that 48 will be back in the mix in the end, no matter what their outcome.
Oh, and yeah, he's going to get a really big run as well down this straightaway in their draft. So it won't be long before the 48 gets back up there. The question is, how many laps will it take before he gets there or not? But coming out of turn 2, we've got 8 laps to go in this race. There's still a lot of time left, but there's also very little time left. It's a funny thing how this all works out in the Nitro National Series, but Meskhi's held on so far. He's about to lead his 60th lap in a day. That'll far and away be the most of all drivers, and it'll make a defeat even more hurtful.
Yeah, that's the thing that really stinks about dominating a race and someone getting by you in the end, as Lamas trying yet again.
Yeah, go back to Phoenix last year. Meskhi dominated that race, lost the motor, crashed with his teammate, and that let Ryan Reed go on to win. So you just never know what's going to happen in one of these things until the checkered flag flies. Oh, and it looks like we got one stopped on the apron there on the back straightaway. I couldn't quite tell who that was, but we're looking. Oh, there it is, and it's Terzic in the 57. He started this race in 10th, was running in the top 15 for Fair & Co. Racing, but that engine decided that 61 laps is too much, and he will be our first retirement of the day. Devastating for Fair & Co.
Yeah, but on the plus side for the leaders,
no caution.
As much as it stinks, no caution. As much as it stinks for Terzic, and for the rest of the field, for most of the rest of the field, that's a sigh of relief, because some of them are in really good battles right here, and that could have a caution that could have potentially ended the race, especially at this very crunch point of the race, could have ruined their chances at improving position.
And we only have 5 laps to go. The pressure is on for Varga and for Lamas to try and close the gap on Meskhi. Varga's right there. Lamas needs to pick up the pace a little bit if he's going to get there. He's fallen a little bit off, but he's trying to get that mega run down the back straightaway or even down the front into the corner to try and at least get the 9.
And that's if he can get past Varga, even if he can't do anything about Meskhi, or even just where he's at. We've talked about it already, like broken record almost. That is an impressive day regardless, but there's always that one more position you can get before the checkered flag, and he's looking at least 1 or 2 here.
And keep in mind as well, second place pays 5 more points than third. So that's another incentive for Lamas to get after it in the late stages. Coming to 3 laps to go. David Meskhi, though, man, he's done a fantastic job. And this is about the point in the race at Phoenix last year when his engine let go. I'm sure he's thinking about that. Of course, Phoenix is a very different racetrack than here, but not too far away. So could it be a West Coast curse broken for Meskhi?
You mentioning it being this time in the Phoenix race last year, I'm pretty sure that Jeffrey Finn guy watching from the pit boxes would not appreciate hearing that, but it doesn't seem to be affecting it, because you see he's got a gap again as Lamas is trying to at least get second here.
I think Lamas is running out of time, though. I think Varga's running out of time, because we're coming to 2 laps to go, and at this point in the race, you really need to be putting on the pressure, because a caution now would end the race. So you've got to be making moves at every opportunity, and Varga and Lamas just need to get close enough to the 29 to make that move.
Yeah, they've been getting close, but nobody's been able to really do anything with him. The only one who's been able to do anything with him was Rowe with 2 laps down on fresher tires. But Lamas here, I think he's making one final ditch effort here as we come to the white flag to see if he can't get second place away from Varga.
They're going to be side by side at the line to the white flag. That is exactly what David Meskhi wants to see. He wants to see these guys racing side by side behind him, because that means they're not going to be able to challenge him for this race win, and Lamas had to let out the gas real hard there. That could be his challenge done. But down the back straightaway for the final time, Fingai Saitomi Motorsports has had an incredible start to the season. DJ Kurtis won the pole at Daytona, won the race at Daytona. Brandon Smith won the pole at Rockingham, won the race at Rockingham. And now, David Meskhi has won the pole at Las Vegas, and for the first time in Fingai Saitomi Motorsports, he is going to win at Las Vegas. 3 races, 3 different FPM drivers in victory lane.
Yeah, that's a feel-good story for that team, because we've seen it. Their Nitro program's been good, but it's also had its hiccups like any program. But this is a strong start for the season for them. And when you take into account that all 3 of their drivers finished no worse than 7th, I definitely have to say kudos to them for bringing some strong cars, some strong Fords to the track today.
And keep in mind as well, with how well they've been running, as we see all the Spa cars, they started the race together and they all finished together as well. Good, solid day for that team. But for Fingai Saitomi, they've got all 3 of their drivers now in the top 4 in points. So this is going to be a really strong season for this team as we head to Atlanta next week. But what a start to this season. Kurtis won at Daytona, Smith won at Rockingham, now Meskhi wins at Vegas. What better way to start the season for one of the juggernauts of this sport?
Yeah, no, you said it. It's a big deal, because honestly, as we look at victory lane, that's going to be jam-packed here soon. This is big for them, because we all know that when you get one driver at a team that gets momentum at the start of a season, it's big. But when you got all 3 of your drivers in a series going like this, look out, because honestly, I think at least for the start of the season, we're going to have to deal with FPM for races to come.
Well said indeed. But with that being said, from James Ellison and from myself as well, thanks for joining us for an epic day at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. First time in 1UP history we've had a team win 3 straight races with 3 different drivers, at least by my count. We'll see you again at Atlanta Motor Speedway next week. That is always a hotbed for racing action down there. We hope to see you there as well. But until we see you at Atlanta, big congratulations to David Meskhi and the entire Fingai Saitomi Motorsports team. He joins his 2 teammates as winners in the 2026 Nitro National Series.